Code of conduct.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I put in extra work that just can't be found. I took the sword out the stone, wasn't a thing. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. God made me punch in accurate numbers. My castle won't crumble. What I tackle will fumble. I've been a leader when they ain't see it, but now my feet is up. According to me, royalty didn't end with King Tut. Crown on my head, clouds is at my legs. Big says sky is the limit. I look down on the ledge. I push the bar like I'm opening a cell. Hands in my cookie jar, you won't come out with a single nail. I need all of mine. The weight of my shoulders won't fit on a scale. What's a king to a giant? Well, Goliath fell. Even if we playin' chess, dog, this king can't be checked. I make all my moves on the board, I invented my steps. I'm a king, the blood of a ruler, I feel like Mansa Musa. Make your squad disappear like landing by the Bermuda. Triangle, look at it from my angle. I'm a king, the closest thing to being one of God's angels. I'm a king. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I put in extra work that just can't be found. I took the sword out the stone, wasn't a thing. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is the Code of Conduct with the King podcast. I am your host, Jay Spence, the King, and I am coming to you on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, presented by Picasso Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day. Picasso's. We are Buffalo Pizza, shipping locally and nationwide. Order online at picassospizza.net. What is going on, my people? I got my man JR in the building. My homegirl T. Estelle. What's up? Cam, Rich Rush, my man Engraven. He going to be in here in a minute, and we're going to talk about some Baltimore Ravens. When I tell y'all, if y'all don't know who my man Engraven is, y'all need to go check him out if you're a Baltimore fan or not. He's one of the best content creators. I'm going to introduce him in a bit, so y'all gonna see how he is, man. He's legit. I also got my brother coming in here, Big Mike, representing my crossover crew. Again, I got a good show today. I can't wait for this. So listen, before I bring my guests in, before we get going, all that, I do want to talk a little bit just about Sunday. Let's get past it. Let's get over it. It's a lot of anger within Bills Mafia, and I get it. Everybody was like, yo, we going undefeated. I didn't say that. We're going undefeated. It's over. We're the best team in the NFL. I still think that. But listen, that's why you play the game every week. That's why there's a season. That's why there's something called home field advantage. And Miami took full advantage of that home field advantage. That's something that happened. We can't cry over it. I got two guests coming on tonight that can speak to the fact that home field advantage, especially in bigger situations, because this could have been the playoffs. And I don't know if you all remember, we had the Baltimore Ravens come into Buffalo. And Justin Tucker, the most accurate kicker in NFL history, missed not one, but two in one game. I can't remember the last time I remember Justin Tucker missing two field goals in 2 weeks, yet alone one game. Sometimes home field advantage is actually a thing. This time, it just so happened that the Buffalo Bills played on a Sunday where the sun was out. It was humid. It was a beast. Let me just tell you, I was there. It was a beast. Florida was not joking over the weekend. So it happens. We can't blame the NFL. We can't ask them to go and do an investigation and, file lawsuits against the Miami Dolphins. That's ridiculous. Come on, we got to calm down. What happens is this Sunday just wasn't our Sunday. It's a home field advantage that is built into that stadium. Sucks to be us, right? But guess what? We see them again this year. The season's 17 weeks. That's why we have 17 games to play. They didn't win the division this Sunday. They didn't win the Super Bowl this Sunday. It's okay. We'll get over it. Listen, the Buffalo Bills are going up against one of the premier quarterbacks in the league. I know we had some national media say some craziness about him over the summer. Like, yo, this dude he's not top 10. He's not top 15. They tripping. Let me just tell y'all, we got a couple people that's going to come on and we're going to talk about Lamar. We're going to talk about their defense. We're going to talk about their offense. I wasn't a believer of their offense coming into the season because of their offensive coordinator, because of, I feel like they let some of their receivers go that they shouldn't have let go. And so we're going to talk about that. But we're going to talk about Lamar, and we're going to put some respect on Lamar's name tonight. We're going to put some respect on Josh Allen's name tonight, because when you look at it, out of that draft, those were the two guys that were doubted the most. And guess what? They're the two most successful right now. So we're going to talk about that. But let's talk a little bit more about the game. I just want to get over a couple things before I bring my guys in. I see my man Mike already waiting on me, so we're going to get this going. But I do want to talk about Ken Dorsey. Listen, I understand there's some people that look at that as like a outburst of rage, and it's could be triggering in certain ways. I just want to let everybody know this is football. Okay. And I'm not saying that to diminish anybody's feelings. These guys are competitors. They're playing a physical sport. They're trying to rip each other's heads off during the game. Ken Dorsey is a football player first. He worked his way up, graduated to an offensive coordinator now. He's doing his thing, doing the damn thing, if I can say. But guess what? He's a competitor. He's a football player. So that fiery, those emotions that we got to see from him, listen, that's who he was as a player. If Josh Allen ever becomes an offensive coordinator, bet money that's how you're going to see Josh if they lose a game. Bet money. It's a lot of preparation that goes into these games. And I know we know this as fans, but sometimes, we get in our feelings about things that we can't have certain feelings about everything. Like, I think that's one of the things. We have takes about everything. Everything got a take. He was pissed off they lost the game. He's an offensive coordinator that takes pride in everything that he does for his job. It's okay. It's okay. He didn't do anything personally to offend anybody. If there wasn't a camera in that booth, we wouldn't even be privy to this. So let's just take a step back and let's stop. I think my man Kyle Brandt, shout out to Kyle Brandt. I think Kyle basically said, it's going to hang over his head for the rest of his career. And then Josh Allen goes on his show and say, yo, we love it, man. The players love it. Let's relax. Let's stop. We don't have to have takes on everything. Speaking of Josh, can we talk about how he's handling certain things? And I feel like this new level of stardom for him, because Buffalo's not used to this. We don't have players that kind of transcend the levels of superstardom locally. Like Buffalo has always kind of had those guys that, like, oh, he's good, but now the Buffalo Bills are getting the attention nationally. Like it's a thing. Josh Allen is the new league darling. You know what I mean? Like, if you look back to the year that Lamar Jackson won MVP, this is how they talked about Lamar every single week during the summer, every week during the summer. This is how Josh is this year. So Buffalo isn't ready for this. And Josh wasn't necessarily, I don't think he had the experience. And so now you're seeing situations where he gets hit in certain areas that he's not supposed to be touched, and he reacts as a man. And listen, are we really going to be mad at Josh for that? Are we really going to be mad at? And I know it's not Bills fans. I'm saying this now as a blanket statement on how I see certain people. And I'm going to bring this up because I got a text message earlier where somebody tried to put it in a sense of, it's because of, who he is, and it's because he's the team, and now it's the Bills being the Super Bowl favorites. I think it's ridiculous. So we're going to talk about that with my guys. One more thing I want to talk about, and before I bring them in, and this is something that I'm not ready for. And I tweeted this out the other day. Somebody on Twitter hit me and was like, yo, is this the last time that we're going to see Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer as a safety tandem? Wasn't ready for it, man. Wasn't ready for it. Micah Hyde is out this year for the year with a neck injury. I believe it, the reports that came out said something maybe spinal, not Mike Tyson spinal when he broke his back, but seriously, he has an injury that he had to get a second opinion on. Now he's out for the year, and he's saying he's back in 23. There's still a chance that the Buffalo Bills do not bring back Jordan Poyer. These guys, to me, and we can speak to a lot of people. I know Trey White was the first defensive player drafted by the Bills, like during this regime. He was that number one, or that 27th pick in our first round. So we can speak about Trey, and we can speak about certain people. Lorenzo Alexander coming in and doing some things, but Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer changed the complete culture of that defense, that back end. They elevated the level of play. They elevated the professionalism. They elevated everything that we could see on that back end. And to me, it's a it's a sad day if that's the last time. That Monday night game against the Tennessee Titans, it's a sad day if it's the last time that we see those two guys together. Sad day. I'm not going to go into it. Got a quick message from my man Buffalo Freddy. I'm going to update this read after a while. I got to do it because it ain't the summer no more. So when y'all hear it, y'all going to know what I'm saying. But after that, I got my man Mike, and I got my guest coming in. And great, I'm going to just tell you, Ingraven is that dude. Mike is that dude. Mike's been on the show before. We've talked basketball. We've talked hip-hop. We've talked everything. So now we're going to talk about these Ravens, and we're going to talk about how his quarterback is great, but he about to get slapped by Josh. Let's get it. Okay, here's the deal. I know as Bills fans, we wait all year for the fall and the winter so we can go to the Bills games. I get it. Trust me, I do. But let me tell you why this time of the year is elite. It's party time. And we're going to party for so many reasons, whether it's a graduation party, a birthday party, family reunion, or just because it's Saturday and the weather's perfect. Here's the thing. My guy, Buffalo Freddy, has everything you need to make your party the best party of the year. We have everything from chairs and tables to premium tents, water slides, wet and dry bounce houses, and so much more. And that's not all. The best barbecue catering in Western New York has you covered, whether it's a small party or a corporate gathering. Buffalo Freddy Barbecue Catering makes everything easy for you. Rentals and bookings available now at www.buffalofreddy.com, or you can call 716-4FREDDY. That's 716-437-3339. Remember, for all your party rental needs, just call 4Freddy. Yo, so y'all know what time it is. I got my guests in here. Listen, first of all, everybody who listens to Code of Conduct and who watches Code of Conduct, y'all should be familiar with my man Mike. What is going on, brother Mike?
What's up, man? I'm happy to be back.
Hey, I'm happy to have you here. We got a lot to catch up on. You got married. A lot of happened.
A lot done changed, bro. A lot done changed.
Yeah. And then we have, this is the first time I actually got a chance to interact with him, but I caught up with a lot of his content over the playoffs when the Buffalo Bills hosted the Baltimore Ravens in Western New York. And we're going to talk a little bit about that game because I want to talk about home field advantage, and I want to talk about what that means because a lot of Bills fans are ticked off. But I have a Baltimore legend in this joint. I got somebody don't shake your head, man. Don't be modest. We got a Baltimore legend in this joint. Why don't you take a moment and go ahead and introduce yourself, man? Let us know that we're in the presence of greatness.
Oh no! Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Oh, okay. I don't know why the sound not coming through my headphones. It's all good. But anyway, how y'all doing? Appreciate you having me on. Appreciate you reaching out. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm in IngravenVids, the channel. It's IngravenVids. We talk Ravens on there literally every single day. And we just talk football in general too. And football, I really just appreciate the game a lot more than I used to. Just really appreciate watching other great teams as well. Before, like being a Ravens fan, especially around the time from like 2008 to 2012, 13, after they won a Super Bowl, being a Ravens fan, you could be like, all right, all I see is Ravens and that's it. Ain't nobody touching the Ravens, especially how they were doing. They were making the playoffs every year and winning playoff games every year. It was like, oh yeah, can't nobody see us Ravens. Then they won a Super Bowl. But then the year after that, when they lost, they went 8-8 after the year they won the Super Bowl. I think that was really the year that really opened my eyes and really made me appreciate other teams that much more or just as much. So I just it changed everything. So on the channel, we got a respect for other teams, their fans and whatnot. It ain't like, oh man, if you're not a Ravens fan, then forget you. I don't care about it. Ain't nothing like that. We just have a good time. We talk Ravens and we just have fun on there. So this team keep it clean. It's a channel that's for everybody. It's family friendly, but we have a good time, man. We talk a little trash here and there, but it's all in fun and it's all love at the end and the beginning of the day. So I appreciate you again for having us on, man.
Man, all day, and like you said, I can attest to that. Like the content is great, is family friendly, and on top of that, is good content. One of the things that I try to do, and I try to hold myself accountable for, is when I bring guests on, is something that adds value to fans who want to learn about the game, and really want to even connect with different fan bases. So that's part of the reason why when Mike and I talked, we kind of planned to have him come on a while ago, and he's like, nah, man, you got to holler at my mans. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I checked it. When he said it, I was like, you're right. I got to hit him up. So I appreciate you making the time. Let's get into this game, man. before we talk about the game coming up Sunday, let's talk about the game that you guys just had. So Lamar, obviously all summer they're talking about this contract extension and people talking about, man, he ain't earned it, but whatever. There's two sides to it.
Mm-hmm.
This dude came out this past Sunday and he just looked like, Superman and Batman together on some stuff that just don't make sense. Let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about that performance. Let's start with Mike and then roll it around to my man's down here, and let's get into it.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's in MVP form right now, and I'm happy to have him as my quarterback. That's my quarterback. I'm happy to have him as my quarterback. For him to be playing like this with this contract thing looming, I mean, it just shows that he is just super focused, man. He's pinpoint focused, and that is a great thing to have in a quarterback like that. So, listen, he is showing that I don't know. I do think he carries a chip on his shoulder coming into each season, right? Each off season is something that they question him on, right? And he comes into that season with a chip on his shoulder. I think that chip on the shoulder right now is a little bigger than the other ones, right? Because we know what's looming. But man, he's looking great. He's looking amazing. He's making players around him better, and that's the true mark of a great quarterback. So, yeah, man, I'm happy to have him here for sure.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully he'll be here for the long term too, because again, like you mentioned, all the contract talk that has been big, and it can easily be a big distraction. But Lamar, he has continued to stay true to his word. He said, "Hey, after come week 1, they ain't talking contract no more. We ain't talking. There ain't no more negotiating or anything like that." And he's held true to that. So the only thing left that he has to prove with his word is just getting a Super Bowl out of him. So hopefully this will be the year that he makes that happen with the Baltimore Ravens. But a word that my guy Mike mentioned was focus. And yeah, that's Lamar Jackson all day, focused. And with that chip on his shoulder that you talked about, that he seems to carry every season, that's true, because every single season it's been something different. Every single season Lamar can't do this. Oh, Lamar's gonna get hurt. Oh, Lamar's injury prone. Oh, Lamar doesn't deserve the contract. Oh, Lamar's a running back. Oh, Lamar can't throw. It's always something. And then every year he takes a step forward in continuing to prove a lot of the naysayers wrong. Is he the perfect quarterback? No. By no means is he perfect. No, he still got some stuff he got to improve on. But this year he's been on a tear so far, like 3 touchdowns and at least 3 touchdowns in every game. So hopefully that continues on Sunday, but we of course talk about that in a little bit. But nothing that he ever does will be good enough for people, no matter how good or how well he does it. And that's already been proven, because so many goalposts will continue to move. So many people they'll say one thing, and if Lamar shuts it down, then they'll adjust it and be like, oh, you know what? No. It's that he can't really do this. And then he'll prove that wrong. And then they'll adjust it. Oh, no. It's that he can't do that. So it's always going to be something with him. And I remember when he first came in 2018, I remember saying it on the channel that, again, nothing that he does will ever be good enough. But he is somebody who he handles it a lot better than a lot of us would. I know myself, he handles it a lot better than me. Because boy, Lamar, like, I don't know. And for somebody to be, like you mentioned, the stardom, that you talked about, Josh Allen is receiving now. It's like it's with Lamar, he has that too. But it's like for somebody of that, with that popularity and whatnot, to continuously be talked down on, and the way that he responds so humbly and so calm, that's tough. That's real tough. So yeah. I give him a lot of credit for how he handles it. So
listen, man, I don't know if I'm with you. I don't know if I could handle it. Like, I mean, personally, it would be one of those things for me where it's like, you know what? All right. Not only am I going to prove it to y'all, but I'm going to clap back, like on that level, like, because I feel like when you get to a certain level of popularity or a certain, stardom, I feel like, unless you completely do some things like, you're not gonna ruin it by clapping back at people. You'll ruin it doing off-field things that don't make sense. But I'll be getting back at these people, especially these previous, like the former players. This is the part that I get upset about. former players will come out and, while they were in the game, because before they retired, they got a chance to play against him. They was waiting after the game for his autograph. The year he got MVP, you had players waiting on the field for Lamar Jackson's autograph. Now you got guys that's now transitioned over to media. They on FS1, ESPN, or doing podcasts, all these different things. And now they got slick stuff to say about how he's not the dude that he is. Granted, I've publicly, I've critiqued him at times because I feel that he should put some focus on developing certain aspects of his passing game a little bit more. I'm not saying that he can't throw it. I know he could throw it. The dude can sling the thing around. I just think that now this year we're starting to see him, like this past Sunday, really make people pay with his arm. This is what I've been waiting on. But I ain't never opened my mouth to say something foolish like this dude ain't, like, he's not good. He won the MVP his second, like, every year that he finished the season, he's made the playoffs. Now, there could be something made to say, well, he hasn't made it, whatever. Okay, how many games he won in the playoffs is a different conversation. But there's no way I'm going to sit there and take that if I'm Lamar Jackson, man. And you're right, he's so humble about it. Let me ask you, somebody in the comments was saying that they agree that he needs to be paid, but they don't agree with the fully guaranteed contract. As Ravens fans and as somebody who's, who covers the team closely, how do y'all feel about, because Lamar Jackson, I think, depending on how you look at it, especially over the past few years, I think he's done more for his team than Watson did before the legal stuff. I think he's, I can't say he's a better overall player, but I think he's more valuable in my opinion. So when you look at this, how would you answer that?
I would say, with the fully guaranteed contract, like you just mentioned yourself, when Lamar fully finishes a season, Ravens are guaranteed pretty much to make the playoffs, right? They've done it every time he's been there. And when Lamar doesn't finish the season, they don't make it. So I know we can't have the conversation about, of course, the playoff games themselves and the win-loss record in them, which it does need improvement. It certainly needs improvement. But to get to that improvement, to actually make those improvements, you got to get into the playoffs. And with Lamar, you're making it. Without Lamar, this Baltimore Ravens team, they're losers, like straight up. Without Lamar Jackson, this team would not be who this team is. And then a lot of times you can put a lot of other quarterbacks in that same situation too. And a lot of them just would not be able to get it done. If you watch Lamar week in, week out and see what he does, a lot of stuff, it gets unnoticed because a lot of people can just look at the stat sheet. He threw X amount of touchdowns. He threw X amount of picks. He had X amount of rushing yards, and that's cool. But this is why you actually it's important to actually look at the game too, because you'll see that the Ravens, ever since after 2019, that offensive line has been all kinds of bad. They have been struggling for years, 2020, 2021, and then even this year too. But a lot of that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. Lamar has to make a lot of people miss. He has to evade a lot of defenders and whatnot, them getting into the backfield. And he makes it happen every week. Sometimes it don't end up like that because last week I think he got sacked like 4 times. And when you think about that too, it's like a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, for him to be sacked 4 times, something got to be really, really bad with the offensive. For a quarterback like him to be sacked 4 times, like, ooh, that's rough. But again, they still won, and he's been a winner. So that's always important to remember when talking about that.
Mike, how do you, because in the same conversation, what I often say is, you can't place a value on him without watching the game, like we just said. But the thing is, the reason why I say that is because I also feel like, I could be wrong, so y'all correct me. I feel like I don't think the Ravens have done enough as far as providing the right type of receiving weapons for him. So,
Bingo.
I know this year, what is it, Devin Duvernay? I always say it wrong. Did I say it properly?
No, that's it.
Yeah. He's been showing up. He's playing big. I know Mark Andrews obviously is big time, but you trade away Hollywood Brown, which I understand the reasoning behind it. But I also understand that every year in the draft, there's like 4 or 5 studs that come out that you could spend a 2nd round pick on a wide receiver. So Mike, what is it when you look at your offensive weapons for him and you're saying you're battling these comments that no, Lamar don't deserve this because he don't throw these numbers or because he doesn't do this. Do you look at it from a team perspective too? Like, well, we got to put some of that blame on the team.
100%. You hit it on the head. I mean, when I'm on shows with my other guys, and lunch break, hot take, I see them in here and Coach Evans and those guys. I say it all the time. You got a Ferrari, right? And to touch on what Engraven said with the offensive line, first things first is you want to keep your Ferrari clean, right?
Yeah.
So, and would that translate within the offensive line is you don't want him touched, you don't want him sacked, you want to keep him upright as much as you can. But 100%, they don't put enough talent around him, and I love the way Duvernay is playing right now. I love the way Rashad Bateman is playing right now. But I can't, even in watching them play great, I can't help but to look at you guys and Kansas City and other teams that say, wow, if Lamar just had that type of talent put around him as well, what would we really see? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you hit it on the head, Spence. 100%. They do not put enough talent around them. I don't get it. I don't understand. I think Lamar is the most dynamic player in the league. And that's no knock on anybody else, but you have the greatest weapon out there right now. He quite possibly is the greatest weapon out there, and you aren't loading him up with whatever he needs to be great. And I have a huge problem with that. A huge problem with that.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm gonna respectfully say that Josh Allen is the most dynamic quarterback. I mean, well, the reason and I'm joking, but at the same time, the reason why I say it about Josh is for the same reasons probably that you say it about Lamar. I think that they have a lot of quality. They run differently, but they have a lot of qualities that I feel like can be compared. But I also think because of what we're talking about, how the Buffalo Bills have decided, like, look, we're going all in with Josh. Like we believe in this guy. We're going to go get Stephon Diggs for him. We're still going to draft a Gabriel Davis. We're going to not only are we going to have Devin Singletary every year, we're going to take a guy. So we got Devin Singletary, we got Zach Moss, and now we got James Cook. And if they don't work out, guess what? Next year we're going to take another one. They got a Dawson Knox. So with that being said, I think right now for me, when I look at the way the league is, this Sunday didn't look like it because of the heat factor. Like Stephon Diggs said, he had full body cramps, and I just can't. I can't hold it against him if he doesn't have a 165-yard receiving game with 3 touchdowns when he's having full body cramps. But I just look at that offense, and it's like there's not an offense, even if I wasn't a Bills fan, there's not an offense that I would just be excited to watch every week like this, man. Like, it's insane. But I have all respect to Lamar. So, and that's why I named this episode 7th and 32nd. So let's take a quick 5 to 10 minutes real quick, and then we'll talk about the game. The reason why I want to take these 5-10 minutes, let's talk about how both these dudes were drafted in ways where, first of all, Lamar almost dropped out the first round, which to me is disrespectful in itself. Josh Allen was talked about like both of them were, but Josh Allen's all this stuff. Now you're looking at the 2 most successful guys. Meanwhile, Baker Mayfield has ruined Cleveland, and now he's ruining North Carolina, or he's ruined Carolina. Josh Rosen can't even make a practice squad. You get what I'm saying? So like, let's talk a little bit about just to show each other some love real quick before we get into the friendly banter and all of this stuff. Like, I love your quarterback, man. And he's the one guy that I wanted to draft if it wasn't. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't want Josh. And my cousin's a Ravens fan, and he's like, no, man, y'all gonna be happy with Josh. He's gonna develop. I wanted Lamar 100%. I got receipts to prove it. Let's just show them some love. I kind of want to hear y'all perspective on some things about Josh, and I'm gonna share some thoughts about Lamar, and then we can get into the game.
Not to necessarily go back to the previous conversation, but it has a lot to do with this. I love how the Buffalo Bills, how they continue to provide around Josh Allen. I actually, Bills fans should actually be very grateful toward the Ravens, because we're the ones that got the Josh Allen started a little bit earlier than it was supposed to. Because who was it? Nathan Peterman. In 2018, I believe. Nathan Peterman was a starter. And I remember that I went to that game because it was raining like crazy. It was nasty weather. But I remember going on Twitter like a couple days before the game, and I remember seeing a hype video for Nathan Peterman, and I was like, hold up. I thought it was a joke. I thought somebody I thought it was a fan that made it as a joke, but it was actually the Buffalo Bills. Team. Yeah. And I was like, okay, hey, you want to put that positivity out there, cool. But Nathan Peterman, he obviously had a bad game, and then the Bills, they yanked him. Then they put in Josh Allen, and I think he actually got a touchdown on one of his drives too. But that got things started. But with Josh Allen, I know there were questions about him early on, and the Bills. It seemed like the Bills were like, we don't know. Then they were like, you know what? Let's make it to where There's no excuses. Like we can really find out, we can really maximize our young quarterback because we see the potential, but we really want to get it out of him. So they went and got Stephon Diggs. And it's like every year they continuously had nice weapons around them. They got Cole Beasley. They had got John Brown. They had got Emmanuel Sanders. And now they got who's obviously Gabe Davis. They drafted him last year. Then he just started going off in the playoffs. And then early this year he's been doing good too. And who's that slot number 6? The slot wide receiver.
Oh, Isaiah McKenzie.
There we go, McKenzie. There we go. And then of course, like you mentioned, with the with all the running backs that y'all drafted as well. Even though the Bills we ain't trying to run the ball. Y'all just pass heavy, which I respect and I love. But I do appreciate how the Bills, not only on offense though, but on defense too. Like who would have thought like the Bills would be like, oh, we gonna sign Von Miller. I would have never thought he would have went there. But the Bills, they continue to just show that, hey, we trying to make not only the best offense, but the best team possible. One thing that I appreciate about their offense too, and I really love this, especially week 1 against the Rams. How and we've seen it over the years too, but how they continuously get so many different people involved. Like obviously Stephon Diggs, he gonna do his thing. But then, you got a Gabe Davis, you got Knox too, and then they'll throw to the running backs and whatnot. So, and then Josh Allen, he'll take off too, and he'll start trying to truck over people. But they continuously get so many different people involved to sort of try to keep you off balance. So, Bills have done a really good job with the development of Josh Allen, and I love that they grabbed that potential and they pulled it out of him.
Yeah, I'm with you because. At first, the first year, he didn't look good at all. Besides his running, he would take off, he would go quick. But again, like you said, they said, okay, let's get a little bit better of an offensive line on him, and then let's try to bring him another weapon. So that's when they brought in the John Brown and the Cole Beasley, and then, like you said, they improved. So they're putting all this talent around. The defense was a good point because what they also try to maximize is like, look, okay, if this guy hasn't developed yet, let's make sure he don't have to score 40 points a game. Like, let's make sure our defense is in place to where, because my man Dan Frederick just put in the comments, Kelvin Benjamin was our number 1 wide receiver. Like, and I always think about how Booger said he was one Popeye's biscuit away from playing tight end, and then he actually tried out for tight end. Like, okay, but Mike,
no, you know what? First of all, I do want to point out that when last time I was on the show, you have been very clear about your respect for Lamar. So anybody that questions that, send them to me. I got your receipts. You have shown your respect for Lamar. But as far as Josh Allen, man, literally 5 minutes before I hopped on with you, I had a conversation with my man Jose. We were on the phone and we were talking about Josh Allen. And it was, listen, I don't understand the hate on the guy. If you want him to, you don't like him because he's that good. Typically, it's because he's that good, right? That's where your hate is coming from, because the boy can play. So your hate is so misguided. Like, don't hate. If somebody can play, they can play. He's a bad boy in my opinion. And I have respect for the way that he plays the game. He's tough. Like you said, Lamar, they play similar. They both can sling it. They both can take off and do what they got to do. But you won't catch anything bad from me to say anything about it. But unless this week he throws for about 6 or 7 touchdowns, then I'm gonna be upset. Right. But yeah, I'll do Josh Allen, man. Like, and it's similar to what you already pointed out. If both of them came out, with the hate, like I saw somebody in the comments say, Allen was supposed to be tight end, one was supposed to be wide receiver, and they're proving that wrong. And I think that ultimately that they're going to be tied to each other, not just because of, them being a part of that new young gun group, but them coming out in that class and then the naysayers that come behind their name. But yeah, man, Josh Allen is a baller. You got one. And then you got another one from us, a Maryland guy. It's Stephon Diggs. He's supposed to be here. Yeah. He's supposed to be here, but he's not. I blame that on the front office again. But
and listen, He gonna be the best in the league after the season. I said it before the season, and that's my take. I mean, I know the Bills are, we're stacked this year as a team, so it's kind of probably not a hot take. But the thing is, when you got a Devontae Adams in the league, normally because you have probably 5 guys that most people normally put there. You got the Devontae Adams of the world, then you got the Keenan Allen conversation where people go. I feel like Stephon Diggs is normally around 5 or 6 because they always throw Cooper Kupp in there now because of his. I'm telling you, at the end of the season, it's going to be undeniable to me, unless, God forbid, there's any type of reasons that he's not playing. He's going to be undeniably the best wide receiver this year in the league. So that's where I'm going. And I just want to also show some love to Lamar before we get to the game. Like I said, one of the things I like about him, like you mentioned earlier, is how humble he is. We know the dude can play. Like, we saw him back in Louisville play. We saw him play when he came into the league. We saw him get an MVP. We saw him make the playoffs every year. We saw, like, there's literally nothing you can say about him unless you just want to nitpick the game. And when that happens, it's fine. We all do it because we're content creators, or we're, some of us think we're smarter than others. So we do all this extra little research, and he can't throw outside. And then he blows you up and throws outside the numbers. Oh, he can't throw it. And then he throws and does. Lamar Jackson is one of those guys where I'm finally starting to understand, as a fan of the game, that sometimes the game really does evolve, and the positions don't have to be played the same way that it's been played for 50 years. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, it doesn't mean that it necessarily changes the position, but it just means that you got this anomaly. Like, you have this very special, I don't want to call him a creature in a disrespectful manner, but I mean, you got this special creature. I feel like Josh is a creature too. You get these special creatures that come in and they just completely transform what we think the position is supposed to be. And I want to give Lamar his flowers before I hate on him for the next 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Because that dude is for real. Like, I mean, he's legit. He's a stud. And yo, I want to say good luck to y'all this year. Just don't win that Super Bowl, because that's we won it. So let's get to this game real quick, man. What are y'all afraid of? I'm gonna ask y'all that way. Maybe y'all gonna say y'all not afraid of nothing, but I tell you, I'm afraid of Baltimore in a certain way. So what y'all afraid of? We can start with Mike on this one and swing it back down.
I mean, everything, bro. I mean, we got to be honest. You guys are front runners, right? I think you guys are the best team in the league. Even with losing this weekend, I think you guys are complete. I think you got a little bit of everything. And right now, with your quarterback and the way our secondary has been looking, and our lack of pass rush, it could be a problem. I mean, we made Tua look like Steve Young, and we made Mac Jones look like, I don't know who we made him look like, but a lot better than, we want him to look, right? Mm-hmm. So you bring in somebody like Josh Allen, anything can go down. And you bring in a weapon like Stephon Diggs, anything can go down. So I'm concerned there. It's a concern. I think that we can play with you guys, right? I think that it's going to be one of those games where it'll be, when you have 2 weapons like that at the quarterback position, you're in the game, no matter what, right? So I think we'll be in the game. And I think you guys, just as well as you guys, will be in the game. But our secondary, they cleaned it up a little bit this week in the second half. Mm-hmm. But we ain't played Josh yet. We ain't played that caliber of quarterback yet. So we got to see how that goes.
Yeah, that's my biggest worry too. Is just the defense as a whole. Like you mentioned, Tua was out there looking like a Hall of Famer. Mac Jones, while he didn't throw any touchdown, he threw for a lot of yards, and there were some big completions on the Ravens throughout the game against the Patriots the other day. And with Joe Flacco, there was a lot that was missed, actually, because his receivers, they were dropping on one of the interceptions, or on the interception that Marcus Williams caught. He slipped. Like the receiver, he just slipped. So the safety took advantage of that and just intercepted it. So the Ravens, they haven't gone against a Josh Allen yet. So that's the thing that worries me the most, is the defense. And I mean, Mike pretty much, he summed up everything. The Ravens have had such an issue with their pass rush, and it's an issue that going into the season they just have not addressed it properly. Because the guy that we drafted in, what was the Jabo, 2nd round pick, we don't know when he's gonna play yet. With Tyus Bowser, he got hurt. I think it was his Achilles in week 18 last year. It's the last game of the season. He ended up tearing his Achilles. So He's on the PUP list right now, so he should be back for week 5, but this is week 4. Literally just signed Jason Pierre-Paul. Just signed another sort of journeyman pass rusher tonight. Signed Brandon Copeland to the practice squad last week. So their pass rush has it's been a big issue. It's been a huge, huge issue. And the pass rush has struggled against those guys at quarterback. Mac Jones and Tua struggled against them at quarterback. Josh Allen is obviously levels above those guys. So that's what concerns me a lot. And then with Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, I'm just really interested to see how they do against Stephon Diggs. I'm really interested to see if they can really contain him, and of course Gabe Davis. But what my biggest concern is for the young cornerbacks like the Brandon Stevens, the Marion Williams, the Jalen Armour Davis. How our young, less experienced cornerbacks go up against the Bills wide receivers, because Bills are going to be looking for those advantages. Because another Bill, not Buffalo Bill, but Bill Belichick certainly took advantage of those young cornerbacks last week. So the Bills are going to be looking at that. And they're going to be looking at everything that the Ravens struggle with, especially in the secondary, and look to try to capitalize on that. So that's my biggest worry: the Bills passing game versus Ravens pass defense, and the Bills passing game versus the lack of pass rush that the Ravens have had.
Yeah, so on the flip for me, I know, like, for instance, I know J.K. Dobbins is kind of just working his way back in, so he didn't really get as many touches that we expect. But I still think with Greg Roman, Bills fans are familiar. Obviously, he was our offensive coordinator when we had Tyrod out here.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that a lot of people complain about it because they don't throw the ball the way that, you probably would want to. But the thing about the Buffalo Bills, last season, we didn't have a good run defense. This year, we beefed up our defensive line. I know it looks really good. My question is, so week 1, the Rams, they didn't, do they scare you with the run game? Like, when you think of the Rams, they don't scare you with the run game. Week 2, we go get Derrick Henry, obviously, but is Derrick Henry? He got injured last year, and now we've seen him through 3 weeks. And I know he had a couple touchdowns this past week, or he played decent this past, but we still haven't seen a Derrick Henry game where he's like 185 on 19 carries. We haven't seen that. So did the Bills really shut down Derrick Henry in this past week? Again, Miami, we shut their offense down, but it's not like when I say this with respect because they obviously beat us. I don't fear Miami's offense, man. Like, if you go and look at the statistics, we stopped them in the run. We outgained them in the pass. Like, I think we had like 460 something yards of offense, and they had like 200 something. It just, the way the game went, the turnover, the health of the team, people going out with health and all of this stuff. That was an issue for us. So now I'm looking at an offensive coordinator who really knows how to run that damn ball. Like, he really, if he don't do nothing else, and whether it be with Lamar or whether it be with the 57 running backs that you guys have, because it seems like every year y'all just, it's like, who the hell is this running back? Let me pick him up on fantasy. Like, y'all always have somebody. That's my concern. So let me ask you about the running game. So after last week, do you think J.K. Dobbins is going to get more touches, or are we still looking at like a Lamar heavy run with, kind of, how do you view that? And is that something that Bills fans should be concerned about?
I think J.K. his touches will ramp up. Last week was his first game in 20 months. So I think his touches will certainly ramp up because he didn't look like he had any setbacks, anything like that. He didn't look like he was struggling with anything. But also Justice Hill. That's a name that I think Bills fans would want to look out for too. Justice Hill, and he is in his 3rd year with the Ravens. But he was a 4th round pick, running back a couple years ago, and he got a crazy burst. He got some nice agility, and he got a little bit of underrated power too. But I would expect him to get a nice little chunk of the workload too at running back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, JK, we'll see. Like, I think that leading into this week, I think we found our tandem, right, that we got to roll with. We are a little banged up back there. The run game hasn't been as great as we are used to, right? We brought in a couple guys they're not working out right now. But Justice played well. JK looked okay to be shaking off some rust for being off for 20 months. So I think we're going to roll with this this duo for now until we get Gus back and see how healthy he can be. But right now, Spence, to be honest with you, man, the run game is lacking a little bit, and I don't know if that has to do with the offensive line play or we just aren't getting that burst that we used to. Lamar is it doesn't the design run for Lamar is not also what we it's not there like it usually is, right? And I think that's on purpose, right? I think he's looking to pass first and then he's using his legs when he got to. We may need to see a little more design run from Lamar to get the run game going this week.
Okay.
So I expect to see that. But if I was you guys, I wouldn't be from a running back standpoint.
Okay.
I wouldn't be too worried about that right now. But Lamar is always a threat. And Justice, as Engraven said, Justice Hill played well. I think he averaged 10 yards a pop last week. So that was a great thing to see because we've been waiting on that from him too.
Mhm.
And this clearly in his career, 3 years here. I mean, he was hurt last year, but that was his best game. So hopefully he could keep that up and give you guys a little bit of problems, for you guys to have to respect and creep up a little bit so we can go over the top. I know you're a little hurt back there, so we're gonna need to exploit that back there.
Mm.
Well, let's talk about that real quick because surprisingly, I don't think that hurt us in the Miami game. I know we gave up a couple big plays to Jalen Waddle, but when you look at it, that tandem of wide receivers from Miami, they were leading the league in yards, and now I think they're second and third with Stephon Diggs being first. They were so it's still a dangerous wide receiver tandem. The
Mhm.
Buffalo Bills shut them. I don't want to say shut them down, but they shut them down compared to what other teams have done this year. So in a way, I'm not worried about our secondary like I was going into that game. But I also think that Lamar, like I said earlier, man, I know people don't look at him as that guy that's going to sling it and really beat you back there. But then we look at last Sunday, and what do you have? Like four touchdowns in the air, or 5 in the air, and 1 on the ground. Like, I mean, when you have those type of numbers, you can't say he can't beat you in the air when he literally threw 4. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a fact. This happened against an NFL team,
Right.
like recently. So, how do you feel the matchup, the battle between our offense your offense and our defensive backfield? How do you think that's going to roll?
Oh, I think it's important that the Ravens they make sure that they take advantage of any possible weaknesses that they can find. I know obviously Tre'Davious White, he's been out, but I know y'all just today put another cornerback on injury reserve, I believe. I can't recall his name though, but it's important to test those young guys like Kyer Elam and I don't remember who the other cornerback is.
Oh,
but
Benford, yeah, his hand. He hurt his
Oh,
hand, so
okay.
he
The fractured hand.
yeah.
There we go. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So appreciate that. But yeah, it's important that Ravens just they take advantage of any weaknesses, and then of course the situation with the safeties, and that sucks about with Mike. Wasn't it? It was Jordan Poyer that caught the pick 6 in the playoffs, right? That was him. I think that was him. But
No, that was it
wasn't
was
Poyer?
Johnson. No, Teron Johnson.
Oh well, man, I must have tried to block it out of my mind. Then it was so bad. That was a rough game. But, but yeah, it's important that Ravens just they make sure that they take advantage of the weaknesses because that's something that a lot of times in the past that Ravens just they hadn't done. So this week you're going up against a really good team, and I don't see it being this defensive game. I see it being more of a high-scoring game where both offenses are going back and forth because I feel like both defenses they got their weaknesses that both offenses are going to exploit.
Yeah, right.
Which, real quick, I'm sorry, Mike. We got a super chat. Let me bring the super chat in, and then you can actually take this on from me. So, Silky says secondary is going to get torched. If you look at the big plays we've given up, it's against 11 personnel. Unfortunately, the Bills, Cincy are heavy 11 personnel usage teams. Pat's success came when they figured that out. And so I'm assuming, obviously, he threw the Bills in there. So I'm assuming he's talking about the Ravens here. So how do you feel about that, Mike? You take that, and then we'll swing it back down to Engraven.
Well, I mean, I can't argue, right? Because we've given up 156 this past week to Devontae Parker, right? who just got on the field, right? I think going into this game, he had two receptions, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that 156 for Devontae Parker is 356 for Stephon Diggs, right? Like, I mean, they just two different guys, right? So you can't have those mistakes, or because I see communication issues too still going on within our secondary, right? We got a new defensive coordinator. So I think there's some changes obviously that went on in the scheme. So I do see some communication errors. And then as Ingraven said, we got some young guys back there. We got Kyle Hamilton, rookie. We got 3 rookies that are playing and logging major snaps back there. So that's gonna come along. There's growing pains that's gonna come along when when you got young guys out there. So I mean, I feel that way. That's why I said it's a concern. I mean, listen, we got MP and we got Marlowe back. And they're both coming off of injuries themselves, so they're working themselves back.
Right.
So this will be the game where they will we'll see, they'll be put to the test this week. We'll see who can hang with Stephon and Gabe. Is just a lot of weapons out there for them to check. So we'll see how it goes, but our secondary has not looked great. But I will, to digress a little bit, man, our pass rush is not there, right? It's missing, and I think they go hand in hand, right? You leave your corners on the island without no pass rush. Of course, I might be able to complete one pass if I don't if I don't have a rush out there. I might be able to get one pass off. So that is also a concern, and I think that plays a role into why our secondary isn't looking that great. So I won't argue with you, Silky.
What you think, Ingraven?
Oh man, I mean, secondary gonna get torched.
I know it's rough. That's tough. Like
but it's real. It's real. So that's what I appreciate about it. I mean, you could delete the rest of the comments. Secondary gonna get torched. It's hard to fight that because they have been getting torched.
Mm-hmm.
So you just hope, and especially with them having a new defensive coordinator. It still feels like Mike mentioned, Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, they coming back from injuries. But while also the new defensive coordinator, we still don't really have whatever his identity is yet. I feel like we don't know him yet. I feel like we don't know what he's good at. I feel like we don't know what he's bad at yet. I just feel like we just don't know him yet. And I feel like the players, they don't know him yet either. So it's just a big adjustment period. So when you're going through a big adjustment period, and now you got Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and all of them coming to town, it's not the best time to still be going through that adjustment period. So that's why I think it is going to be a shootout. I think it will be illogical and irrational, and really just unacceptable to expect the Ravens to hold Josh Allen in that passing offense to under 250 yards. I think that's just. It'd be nice if they did it. It'd be great. We wouldn't complain. We would love it. But I just don't think it's something that people should expect at all. Because you've seen how the Ravens been getting passed on. So it's just something that's scary to think about. But I do think if the pass defense could be good, and it's asking a lot, if they could be great, then I think that they would have a much better chance of controlling this game and it not being a shootout. But right now, I just don't see it happening. I hope it does.
All right. Well, sidebar real quick, because I'm paying attention to the comments. I'm listening to y'all too. Somebody, my homie Eric just said that Philly bound 33 is the place to be when I get there. Is that a fact?
I'm down in Miami. Oh. So I couldn't tell you, man.
You see, said I was over. What you think, Mike? Is this a place to be?
I don't even know what that is, bro.
But... See, okay, well, I ain't going with it. We going with seafood. We going with seafood.
Yeah, you come in here. You come here. You got to get seafood, man.
I'm gonna be there. I get in Saturday, so we gonna have to make.
Oh, sure you going?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's Josh and Lamar. Ain't no way. It's Josh and Lamar.
Yeah, I gotta say this, y'all Bills fans, man. Y'all travel well.
Yeah. Yo,
I seen the videos of Miami and how y'all were taking over the streets. I mean, you guys really, really travel. So
I was there too. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, you
I was
went
there
that,
too.
Oh, you came.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So far, I've been at every game this year. I went to LA, then I went back to Buffalo for the opener. Then I was there. So yeah, I'm
you ain't
like,
messing around.
well, you know what? So here's one of the things. The first thing is, normally I don't get the chance to do this, So like this year with me covering the team and with the opportunities that opened up, I'm going to take it. And the team is good. Like I feel like if this is the year, like the memories that I can create this year, if it happens, it's like, okay, I can't miss this. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yo, I want to first, because we got about 5 minutes before we get out of here. So I want to say to y'all, man, thank y'all for coming on the show.
Sure.
And you know what I mean? Engraven, I wasn't joking or trying to be nice earlier when I was like, no, we got a Ravens Baltimore content creation legend right now, because that's how I feel about you, and I respect people that put in work. Well, you saying I'm just telling you, don't be modest with me, because I'm not gonna allow it to happen, bro. Like you, that dude, and my man Mike, same thing. Like I didn't introduce you that way because I introduced you as a brother, but the thing is, co-creator or co-founder of Crossover 365. You got some awesome content, some great shows that don't even have to do with football. Sometimes it's just real men, real life stuff. And when I tell you, man, I appreciate both of you, and I look up to y'all. So before we get out of here, Mike, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, what you got going on? Give me your prediction for the game, a final score, and then we'll get the same from Engraven, and then we'll get on out of here.
So I'll give you where I'm at first, and then we'll end off with the predictions. But I'm Mike. They call me OTR Mike, and you can find me on Twitter at OTR_Mike. Right now, I'm 1/4 of Off the Record Podcast. I'm 1/3 of Ring Kings Podcast, and that's everything boxing. And I'm one of the new show that'll be dropping before the top of the year called Open Mic. And that's just me and my guests, and we gonna discuss whatever we feel like we want to discuss. So
I see it.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. Check me out, man. Follow me. I follow you back. I follow a lot of the Bill because of Spence. I'm involved in the Bills Mafia a little bit. I got a lot of the Bills followers. So yeah, man. I appreciate you guys. You guys are some nice guys, right? It's hard to fight with you guys. It's not like us in Pittsburgh. You guys are some good
I'll be
people,
honest. I think you just met the right ones, because there's some of them that I
Is it
fight
some
with.
of
And I'm in Bills Mafia, and I'd be like, yo, this dude, you know what I mean? So I think we just linked, yeah. So, but yo, I appreciate you, man. What's your prediction for the game?
So I agree with Engraven, man. I think it's gonna be a shootout. So I'm gonna say 37-35 Baltimore.
Okay. That's gonna be a good game. That's gonna be a real good game.
Yeah.
All right, Engraven, same thing, man. Let's again, thank you, man. Let everybody know where they can find your content. This dude is like I'm telling you, he's a baller on YouTube. So Twitter is my space. I do my thing on Twitter. That's where most of my engagement is. When I go and look at this man's YouTube page, let me just tell y'all, this dude is doing the damn thing. Engraven, let's know where they can find you, what you got coming up, or what you got anything. I loved your video or the post too when you met Lamar. I'm gonna post that on my Twitter later. But yeah.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you having the both of us on, man. And shout out to Mike. I appreciate. I remember the first time I really heard him speaking. He was on live with Hendo with Ravens Online Ungatekeepers, and they were talking about Ravens stuff, and that was cool. That's always cool or whatever. But I just appreciated just them talking, period, because they were just having a conversation. It felt like we was all just chilling on the couch or something, listening to them talk or something like that, and it was super chill, and I loved it. So whatever you do, I know it's gonna be good, especially when you do your solo thing. So shout out to you, man. That was good stuff. I always appreciate when there can be a level of professionalism, and that's cool, that's great. But I just appreciate when people just real with it, man. So you ain't gotta talk all proper and stuff like that. You just be real with it. I always love that, man. So those are some of my favorite people to listen to, and some of my favorite conversations to listen to, because it's real. It's real. But for us, again, the channel is IngravenVids. The YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, everything the same. It's all IngravenVids, one word. And we talk about Ravens literally every single day. And we'll talk about some other stuff that goes on in the NFL. It's very engaging. And I try to make that, because that's very important to me, that people that watch the channel, they know that they are part of the channel. And they know that they are the channel. That's why it's team Keep It Clean. It's not me, it's team Keep It Clean. So everybody, we have a segment called Questions from Subscribers, where people will send in questions about whether it be the Ravens or whether it be about something else. And we'll talk about it. A lot of times I think that something's going to happen, and I let it be known, hey, I think this is going to happen with the Ravens or such and such. Sometimes it does happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen. We get stuff wrong on there a lot, but again, we have fun in the process. We try not to take ourselves or really anything that's going on with the NFL too seriously. We do know that it's entertainment, it's fun, but it's too many serious things that actually happen in life to be taking the NFL so serious and be all angry and doing all that stuff. It ain't worth it. But yeah, man, subscribe if you would like to. If Bills fans come through, we usually do live streams during every Ravens game. We've been able to do every one so far this year. We won't be able to do every single one this year, but we do what we can. But again, it's just content every single day. And I don't know why I say that word because I hate that word, content. It's videos every single day. So I appreciate anybody that stops by, even if it's not for you. Even if you come through and you watch a video and be like, hey, you know what? This is not for me. I still appreciate your time regardless. As far as this game, I have been so back and forth with this game. Initially, I was like, man, I don't see Ravens winning. After I watched the Ravens in week 1, 2, and 3, then watched the Bills in week 1, 2, and 3, I was like, no, I don't see Ravens winning. Then I was thinking about the injuries that the Bills got in their secondary. And I was thinking, well, okay, well, maybe Ravens could win this thing. Ravens at the crib, so they may have a home field advantage. They may get a little bit of home cooking. We'll see what the refs looking like that day. I'm still like very back and forth on it. I guess I'll go 42-40 Ravens, but I'm like 55% sure on that. I'm like 55%, not even 55, man. I feel like I'm almost Ray Lewis, like 52% sure, something like that. And the other 48 is Bills. I just feel so like conflicted about this game, man. I do not know. Obviously, I don't know who's gonna win, but I don't even know who to pick for the game, man. Lamar been going off doing this thing. So the offense I ain't worried about, but it's just that defense, man. And it's like you think about games from 2 weeks ago against the Miami Dolphins. Ravens put up 38 points, I think, and they lost at the crib in a home opener against Tua and them. So I'm like, come on, and no disrespect to Tua, he went out there and did his thing. And shout out to, of course, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. But just thinking about it being Josh Allen now, like Josh Allen ain't Tua, man. And so I don't know, man. So I'm gonna go 42-40. But it's not with much confidence that 42-40 is the not with much confidence that I'm picking a winner. So I honestly just really don't know. But hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully the Ravens win. But it should be a really, really good game against two really good teams, two really good quarterbacks. I know the quarterbacks don't go head to head, but it's more fun to say it that way. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. I love that. So yeah, may the best team that Sunday win.
Yeah, and you know what? In the comments, they're reminding us it's supposed to be a very wet day. It's supposed to rain. So I think that's obviously going to have a factor on some things. I'm going to be a little more modest in my score prediction than the two of you. I think it's still going to be a pretty decent scoring game, but I think it's going to be like 31-28, something like that. I'm going to go Buffalo. The reason why I'm going to obviously go Buffalo, but I mean, the reason why I'm thinking the Bills come out on top is really what it comes down to, what you said about your secondary. I think that, just depending on how that goes, I just think, and really it's a coin flip, because I could say if whoever gets the ball last is where I'm going, honestly, because I've seen Lamar do some good things in the fourth quarter. I've seen Josh do some things in the fourth quarter. So whoever has that ball last, I think is going to do it. But I'm going to go with the Bills. I think our defensive secondary, even with the injuries, I think those guys are better than a lot of people give credit for. Jaquan Johnson, dude is a stud, and the only reason why he didn't get the time is because he was playing behind Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. Like, he could literally start on other teams. So I still think it's going to be okay. But again, I think Lamar he's going to do it, man. He's going to put on the game. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know how I do it over here with the Code of Conduct, Buffalo Rumblings Podcast and Vidcast Network. Y'all love each other, take care of each other, and live in peace. And as always, y'all stay positive and test negative. Go Bills.
Code of Conduct.